I would like to welcome you to this wrap-up session, our last session together in the plenary of the Youth for Health Forum. With me on stage is Hilaire. She will be my co-facilitator for this wrap-up, and I will introduce her and her role in a bit in the process. It is now time for us to conclude the Youth for Health Forum, and for this we have set up a great panel of speakers with whom we would like to reflect and look back and conclude the forum together. So let me introduce to you the panel we have. First of all, I would like to start with Katja Cic, who is manager of on youth health issues at the International Youth Health Organization, and she, yes. And she, together with Raji Rakipi, will conclude and summarize the outcomes of this session. And Raji is Albanian youth representative, so it is lovely that you will join us as well. Next up, we have Rob Butler, Executive Director of WHO Europe. As well as Anuela Restrani, Deputy Mayor of Tirana. Also with us is Bora Musaki, Minister of State for Youth, Health and Children. And last but definitely not least, Denada Zeferi, Deputy Minister of Health of the Republic of Albania. I would say let's directly get started with the conclusions and the reflections. So I would like to hand over the floor to the Deputy Mayor, please.
I was ready for that. I was just looking at the misspell of my name, but it's fine. This has been great, you guys. Thank you so much for coming here. And a big round of applause to all of you for your endurance. Thank you. The city's been feeling very beautiful these days, other than the weather. I think that was also you. And I hope nobody else gets sick, because I was hearing about that, news. But please be careful. That's the first thing. And the other thing is, what were some of our takeaways? And it was so obvious to me and to everybody here who sits on, the senior side, that there is not really a problem of sharing from your side and receiving from our end. So this thing that we seem to create a myth on and sort of artificial barrier from both sides, it's actually the same side, right? So if there is willingness from your side and there's willingness from the listeners and there's willingness from the sharers, then that is sort of like 99% of the challenge here. What remains is how we move on from this. And I think that some of the takeaways were the fact that when we're now talking about health, we're talking about health as a scientific element, but we're talking about behavior that goes with it. But moving a step further, we're also talking about attitudes towards what's going on and how we can change things. And that is not necessarily something that doctors can feel or can come up with, or solutions or recipes. That is something that has to be worked out together, much like everything else in life, right? That has to be worked out together through communication, through us doing things like this, which has been great, and through taking the time to absorb what we have and not smash it on each other's faces, like we have evidence, you don't know it, but like share that evidence, share that knowledge from the part of the practitioners and from the part of those who do have the evidence and the knowledge, and those who are really on the field and have to live with it and have to cope with it. So for me, has been one of the best events that we've had this year. So I know it's the 1,000th, the mayor said, but probably it's the best. So big thank you to you all for all of your participation, all your willingness, all your free-spirited and positivity that you brought to the table. And I cannot wait to keep this up and do more. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Mayor. I would now like to give the floor to Ms. Bora Musaki, the Minister of State for Youth and Children, and we also look forward to your reflections on this conclusion of the forum.
Thank you very much. I don't think I've ever been to a more beautiful activity than today's. And that is saying a lot, because it's been a whole year that I've met so many youngsters all around Albania. But usually they're, in the fields of grass, they're in different cities, they're just from a specific city, they're from a different region, they're from Albania. But I don't think I've ever had this amazing group of young people joined here together and talking about such an important thing as it's Youth for Health. So thank you so much, all of you, for this amazing event. And I know I haven't been here, and I was supposed to be here for the first day, I was supposed to be for the second day. And to be honest, when I remember discussing with Gary since the beginning of this activity about 8 months ago, if I'm not mistaken, if not 9 months ago, we were talking about all the great things we were going to do and how everything was going to go on. But sometimes life is unexpected, just like health is unexpected. So the first takeaway, I think, from this activity is that, things like the pandemic happen. And of course, they change our way of life. They change our way of perceiving things. And that's why it's very important to get the youth perspective. Just like my agenda, something very simple changed this past few days, and I only managed to come here today. The same thing happens with so many things in life. And the part that we have to realize as policymakers, and I know I'm sitting here as a policymaker, and probably some of you are thinking, how old is that girl? Out of curiosity, I'm 32, so perhaps a bit older than you. So I guess, I don't count according to our legislation as a young person, but I always consider myself young because I do surround myself with young people because of my work and because of what I do. But the part that is important, that there is no policy making for young people without having young people and without asking young people, without including them in everything that we do for them. And I'm so honored and actually happy to be part of the government of Albania. And the main reason for that is because we have a mayor that really takes care of young people. We have an entire team in the municipality of Tirana that considers young people as something so important to their policymaking, to their decisions and everything else. And the fact that this year Tirana was the European capital of youth definitely demonstrates that youth is one of the most important things that we do have in this country, and we should really value and appreciate it. And of course, the Ministry of Health definitely is a strong partner that continuously helps us. And to be honest, having these people, and also, if I may count myself in, having a minister that is dedicated for youth, and that the core part of my job is actually young people, and of course kids, but of course they grow up to be young people. So having all the support network in Albania, joined in, of course, with youth organizations and joined in with young people themselves, which are definitely so active and so supportive in everything that they do. And I'm happy that you guys have noticed this as well, because for me, it's a daily thing to notice how young people are so active and so participative. But I'm happy that we got to share that with all of you, and that all of you saw that young people are definitely direct and they're definitely straightforward when they talk about their ideas, and they're not concerned about sounding bad when they say something and criticizing. And to be honest, that's my favorite thing. So today I'm gonna close with really thanking you so much for making this happen, thanking all of our partners. I know it's taken a long time to make this perfect activity be so perfect, and to be honest, I'm so surprised that all of you are here. It's proper commitment. It has been 3 straight days, and the fact that this audience today is completely full, and I see so many young faces that are still as interested, as inspired as I saw the pictures of you in the first day of this activity, means that we've done, I guess, a good job, and hopefully been interesting enough to keep your attention, and this will be just the first to be continued by many others. And the good news I have specifically for the Albanian kids, but that hopefully can be used as an example for the rest of the youngsters that are here, is that finally, after 1 year of consultations all over Albania, of discussions with 20 institutions, because that's how many people need to be involved when we talk about youth, 20 institutions have given us their opinions about the youth strategy. Finally, we have approved the first national youth strategy in Albania. And I'm so happy that I can call that strategy our work. We have done it together. We have worked on it through thin and thick, and we have made sure that every comment, that every young person, be it from the northeast part of Albania, in Kuksi and Bayramturi, and be it from the southern part of Albania, of Saranda and Gjirokastra, every single opinion you've had has been included and has been made part of it. And I'm happy to say that there is a lot of measures in regards to health, and I'm so happy that some of them were discussed in this conference, and some of them were brought forward, starting with mental health, starting with sexual health, and everything else that young people do deem important. I'm so happy that they are part of the strategy. I am happy that all of your comments have already been made part of our strategy. So that means that we really did pay attention, and that you really were very direct and proactive. I'm so happy to have been blessed with such amazing young people in Albania, and I'm so happy to have had such awesome guests in our city, and I really hope you have enjoyed it, you have made new friends, and that you hopefully keep these new friends even longer than this activity. And that, of course, for all of you, if you ever do need some help, and if you ever do need even tips about visiting Albania and visiting Tirana, me and Nuela and everybody here, we're so happy to help you and so happy to have you here. So thank you so much, and really have a very safe trip back home for those of you who are traveling. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Minister. I would now like to hand over the floor to Mr. Nada Safari, the Deputy Minister of Health of Albania. The floor is yours.
Thank you, but it is very difficult to have a ministerial speeches now after these two discussing people that are young people, the Minister of Youth, that have such a good notice for us. We have the new strategy for young people, so this is all, and all the measures regarding health and also regarding activities, everything that it is needed from the voice of the youth people are there. So we are just happy as a government to have a new strategy for youth people. So it's the end of 3 fruitful days and wonderful days for you, for Youth Forum, and for all the organizers. It is such a pleasure that I want really to congratulate with all the teams and with all the organizers, such as the team of World Health Organization, of course, the team of the 2 ministries, the Ministry of Health and Social Protection that are here, and every day we're with you, the staff of the Ministry for Youth, and also all the staff of the municipalities that every day were engaged and were accompanying you in every monument, and as I know, in every exposure, everything, it was done by the municipality of Tirana. Of course, UNFPA and all the team were with us, supporting us in this forum that really it is a good one. And we need to share these experiences and also to have new projects and new initiatives like that, where we can talk about health, mental health, post-pandemic issues, and to face new problems, or also to engage people, to engage civil society, and to be all together like stakeholders to go and to hear voices for youth, for young people, and also to engage them in all the new perspectives and new projects that we just have. So health, it is not only a responsibility by a Ministry of Health and Social Protection, but it is a global, regional, country, local, and civil society engagement, and it is needed that all of them can give their contribution to the best of the young people. Let me thank you, everyone that were here and are here in this meeting room and are together to share experiences and also to be together and to have new relationships. Thank you to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Minister. When we look back on Tuesday, Dr. Hans Kluge, the WHO Regional Director for Europe, presented us a list of outcomes. And these outcomes were part of a really long process. And he asked you for feedback. And I think that's what has happened the last few days. You've been discussing intensively and feedbacking and putting your input into these outcomes. And then now, as promised, we'll introduce to you Hilaire, because Hilaire is part of the team of people that organize this forum and put a lot of work into the process and the forum as well. So I would like to take this moment and to really thank Hilaire and all the team, everybody, for bringing us here. So Hilaire Armstrong is Technical Officer at WHO Europe, and she's also the lead for the Youth Initiative. So you are actually one of the people that will take forward the outcomes together with many more people. So at this point, I would really like to hand over the stage to you and also, in a way, the process. So Hilaire, from here on, it's your job to take on.
Thanks, Clara. And what a journey, guys. And the last 3 days has been, I mean, the energy in the room when I first arrived, it's like electric. So it's been such a privilege to be here with young people, decision makers. So yeah, thank you. It's been very much a career highlight for me. So the first draft of the outcome statements that were created by WHO were based on the ideas of young people, as well as experts and technical officers in WHO. It was also the foundation for developing this forum, all with the aim to have you, as youth representatives, provide feedback and contribute to the final version of this statement. A lot has happened since then. We've had many sessions across the last few days from different perspectives and angles. The sessions, the poster board, as well as the Mentimeter were platforms for your feedback. I would now like to invite Katja Cic, Manager on Youth Health Issues at the International Youth Health Organization, as well as Raji Rakipi, Albanian Youth Representative, to please present us the final version of the outcome statements.
So, as Hilaire said, the Youth for Health Declaration has been a process. And the preparatory process for it started many months ago, when a group of highly motivated young people, led and coordinated by an equally passionate Hilaire, started to work on the backbones of this document. But what gave this document life is you and your input throughout this event. So hopefully now, soon on the screen, you will be able to see what the final declaration is. And the declaration itself is structured into two parts. The first part is talking about meaningful youth engagement as well as cross-generational dialogue. So what we want is for youth to be equals in decision-making and in partnership, and under the principles of inclusivity, diversity, equality, and enabling environments. We want to hear those voices that were silenced or simply did not have a platform before by empowering them and making sure that every single young person can be engaged through this mechanism. We also cannot do this alone, so we need intergenerational as well as interprofessional collaboration. So that is a huge part of the declaration, and we thank you for that. Lastly, and this is probably something that is very exciting for all of us, it is announcing the launch of the WHO Europe's youth engagement mechanism that will include future health and well-being forums to come, as well as additional inclusion of youth in WHO Europe's work through different departments, through different opportunities, and also providing them with new platforms to speak up. And now I will hand over to Raji.
Thank you for being present, and also thank you to the institution that are part of this forum. And let me say I'm so happy that it's not only youth or we discussing about the future, but we have also the institution to improve and to to be better in our projects in the future and everything. Let me continue with the second part of the statements. And the second part is improving youth health and well-being. The first statement is raising awareness of health and well-being issue that matters to and affect us all, particularly to young people and their future. We as young, sometimes we are scared about how future can be if we are going to have another pandemic in front of us. But let me say that if we raise awareness, we can handle it in the future. The second statement is working together to promote and create healthy and sustainable environments that directly address current health and climate issue and risks. And relating to the third statement is to work together, address across the sectors and disciplines, and also to find innovative solutions to complex issues that affect us all. For example, issues such as the health effect of climate change or extended conflicts. The fourth point is putting into practice the lessons learned from the COVID-19 pandemic to become more resilient and better prepared for future crises, and how to combat spreading the misinformation and harmful misinformation about the pandemic. Relating to the fifth point is collaborating to improve framework systems, strategies, and programs in place for long term to evidence informed and people-centered health, particularly that can be adopted at all levels. And the first, as the minister shared with us, is the strategy for youth. So this is a positive step, and we are not here to present this document, but also to collaborate with organizations, with institutions all over our country, and to make the youth to be their self, and not only this, but also to be healthy and to resolve all the other problems that they face in their life. I stand here as not only as a representative for Roma and Egyptian, but also as a representative for youth. And for my community, in fact, it's more difficult because they are not as same as you. They are maybe not well educated, and also they have regress in some parts. But I think with the help of institutions and with your help to involve them in your groups, the Roma and Egyptian community can go in advance. Thank you.
Thank you, Kadia and Raji. And I apologize. I know my colleagues have been passing around the outcome statements. I hope they got to everyone. I just want to do a quick mood barometer by applause. Do you think these final outcomes go in the right direction to support young people in the field of health and well-being? And if you agree, please give us an enthusiastic round of applause now. Thank you. Now, I would like to invite Rob Butler, Executive Director of the WHO Regional Office for Europe, to provide some reflections and to let us know how these outcomes will be taken forward.
Thank you. Thanks very much, Hilaire. I promised at the beginning of the week that I would be in listening mode, and it's fair to say that you learn throughout your entire life course, but I have learned an extraordinary amount about you all over this last 3 days. I've learned an extraordinary amount of the challenges you face, of the concerns you have, and I can guarantee to you that I'm going to take this home with me, put it in my suitcase tonight, and my hundreds of notes that I've taken for all the different groups. Take it back to our decision makers, advocate for the cause, and of course, advocate and stand by the commitments of the statement, which is so exciting. It really is exciting that we've come to this stage. And I know the whole team feel much the same way. Our partners feel the same way. UNFPA and our friends at UNFPA who have supported us and stood beside us at this meeting, I'm very much grateful for that support as well. I took all these notes through conversations that I also had, and I'm very grateful to everybody that shared their conversations with me. Their conversations with me, their experiences with me. And I took a few notes. I've taken like hundreds of sound bites through this week, but I just wanted to rattle off a few that really sort of struck home. And if you'll allow me an extra minute of my intervention to do so. Rob, youth is not a homogenous group, dummy. Rob, data on youth well-being is an essential component of all policy design, not just some policy design. Diversity of leadership, redefining role models. Everyone is a leader of something. I couldn't agree more. I think that really resonated with me. Each one of you is a leader of something. Each one of us is a leader of something. The courage to admit vulnerability is the bravest step to take. It's difficult to live as a young person today when it feels like the world is getting worse. I'll be happy only when I see standardized youth representation in legislation and decision-making across the region. Absolutely. Rob, we need more key listeners and less key speakers. I get it. I get it. I completely get it. All of this, I should say, is going to help us hopefully deliver better forum in the future and better meetings and interventions and interactions in the future. We need transformational educational opportunities, we need educational opportunities for transformational leadership. And I was in a group that was speaking long about this yesterday, and I took a lot of notes from that particular session. You speak of informed choice, Rob, but it's such a privilege to be able to speak about informed choice. That really resonated with me. I hadn't really thought about that much before. We want decision-maker interaction. We want conversations. We want the ability to be able to sit down and discuss. And I think, again, and I know Hilaire and I discussed this with the team earlier, that it's also going to help us really feed into these future meetings that we have. Very, very valuable feedback. So those were all your words, not mine. I've got no words of advice. I'm so poorly qualified to give you any advice, but I would encourage you to continue being so frank, so vocal, so active, and to continue being persistent. Yeah, I was amazed at, somebody talked about stamina earlier today. Your stamina to push your agenda is what will get us there collectively. And I urge you to do that. Not to put the burden on you to do it. It's a shared burden of all of ours. But please be persistent with your messaging. I think the most incredible commitment has just taken place to the statement that our friends just outlined. For me, I think it stresses the unity, it stresses your resilience, your passion, your purpose. And I think I find it extremely exciting, and I'm extremely boosted by the statement, and where it was on Monday compared to where it is today shows me that each and every one of you took this exercise really seriously. And I'm really grateful to all of you for that, because it's landed in a much better place as a statement. Now, the other thing I want you to do, if I could ask you to do something, is to hold us accountable. Because there are 3 commitments that we've made here during this week. Of course, to establish a youth network, not to see youth as a separate network, but to see youth as integrated and in dialogue with decision makers, policy makers. So not to set up a network for the sake of a network, but to see you as being fully integrated. And as somebody said to me earlier, we don't want to sit at the kids' table anymore, Rob. We want to be at the big table. I got it? Great points. Really great points. A biennial forum, I think, is something that is something that we commit to here today to you. But as I said on Tuesday, it's more important to me in what happens between now and then. Not really that we meet in this kind of setting. There's a lot going on in this setting. But as Bora, as you mentioned in one of your recent tweets, I noticed, the real dialogue, the real the important steps and progress is made when we go right down to grassroots and we have that very meaningful conversation. And that I would like to continue, and I will put further burden on Hilaire and the team to, and us all at WHO, to really make sure that that dialogue continues. And thirdly, I want to commit to you that we will convert all of the learning, and I will individually commit to the learning, and there's been a lot of it for me this week, we'll convert this into action. And I will assure you that I will send home every message that you've conveyed to me to the senior management of WHO. Now, lastly, I think it would be amiss if I didn't recognize my own team, our own team at WHO. They have done, this is the inaugural Youth for Health Forum, and I appreciate all the work done by all of the partners, without whom this never would have happened, particularly the three partners to my left, UNFPA as well. And of course, our country office. Jerry, thank you so much for the team for supporting us. The team of amazing young people at WHO that have pulled this off. And I'm not going to go through them name by name, because I always miss somebody out and I get in trouble for it. So I'm not going to do that. And there are far too many. Absolutely. But I would want to single one of them out. And it's, and Hilaire, I put a phenomenal burden on your shoulders a year ago. And I might say I had full confidence you were going to pull this off, but I've appreciated that at times you didn't feel you'd be able to pull it off. It has been an amazing event, and I think you have to take a lot of the credit for it. I think it's not only shown your passion for youth engagement, but it's shown that you are such a capable individual and so skilled. And I'm so impressed. I think you have an incredible future ahead of you. And I wanted to tell you that with this audience watching, because and with us and with me, just to appreciate that and to thank you deeply for pulling this off and for organising this. Thank you. And I believe on that point, I can give the floor back to you.
Thanks, Rob. I've been told this week I need to take compliments in. I don't really take it that well, but thank you so much. And thank you for the standing ovation. I really appreciate it. It has really been a career highlight to be here with you for the last 3 days. I do also want to thank, I would call her my work wife, and she is here, and I need to thank her because she has also put in a tremendous amount of work, and her name is Marie Wolf. So please also thank her. I don't think I would have got through the late nights without her, and I think it was very much a team effort, so thank you. And now, the final words to Katya and Raji.
So instead of just us speaking, we would like to invite some young representatives that are here in the room to provide short closing statements as to what are your expectations that will stem from this event after you leave this door when this session finishes. So please raise your hand. The podium is waiting for your statements. Woo!
Okay. Okay, it's on, yes. Thanks. I literally got told about this right before it started, so I apologize. I am flying by the seat of my pants here. But when I was thinking about what I want to see coming out of this event, the one word that came to my mind was change. We know that this status quo is not serving us. As young people, we are dying of preventable drug overdoses. We are disproportionately affected by the HIV pandemic, which is still ongoing. We talk about learning lessons from COVID-19. We've still got a 41-year pandemic going on that we have not dealt with. The status quo isn't serving us. We're no longer in climate change, we're in climate crisis. We are going to inherit that. So what we really need to see from this is, like you said, accountability, Rob. We really need to see these changes implemented and quickly. We really need to see that change happening. So yeah, quick, short and sweet. I hope that was okay.
Thank you, Gareth. Do we have anyone else who would like to volunteer in the room?
I did get my time on stage, huh? On behalf of the European Youth Forum, I'm Pete. It was lovely to be around. It was lovely to listen and engage. And I think beyond the institutions and the organizations at an international and regional level, governments and national stakeholders need to learn not only to listen, but to act. And I won't repeat what you said, but we are in a moment of crisis. What is happening now in Ukraine, what is happening in Europe and across the world is not time to ignore or pretend that we engage, but to act and include meaningfully. Because our present is difficult, but we can make sure that our future is embracing our ideas and our actions of today. Thank you.
Here you go.
Good part of the day to everyone. And as a young person from the network which changes life of young people, from the network of Y4H, first of all, I would like to say that I'm really grateful that to this forum, the young people from the Europe and from the Central Asia were invited. And we see that at this forum, there is a big representation of Central Asia and our voices were being heard. Thank you very much for this. This is what I just wanted to tell, and I just want to take a small opportunity to thank the Rob Walter. My apologies if because we have seen that during the forum we had like discussions and you were always near us and I didn't even know that you were working at WHO. No, but like you were listening. Yeah, but you were listening to us and we were providing our comments. And of course, thanks to Y4H and thanks to UNFP who support us, who support young people.
Yes. It's okay.
Hi everyone, my name is Dana. I am from Kazakhstan and also as Guncha representing Y4H Kazakhstan Network. And I just wanted to say a huge thank you for all the event organizers, for Albania governments, and for everyone who's presenting there. And these whole 3 days were like really fast, but it was really meaningful in a lot of different ways. It was a lot of connections, networking, and not only networking, but experience exchange, which was really grateful. And I'm only 17, but it's still like a huge step forward for youth, for young people to make their voices heard. And like again, which was already mentioned a lot during the 3-4 days, but it's nothing about us, without youth, without our participation. And I hope in the future it will be like even more, we will be even more included in decision making and in every event that holds place around the world. So yeah.
We had hands from before, the orange t-shirt first. Yes.
So, first of all, I want to thank all of you for being here, the youngsters from every country in the world, I guess, and thank you all because I know it's not easy to dedicate yourself at such a young age in such a long, full-day dedication into workshops, where all of us have been giving constructive feedbacks to each one of us, and have been sharing multiple ideas. I also want to thank the key speakers here in this event, because this event seems like a very great steps in the beginning, and it looks like it's going to be a long road ahead with us, that we are going to engage with each other, and maybe if we are going to have continuous reports in your websites, but also multiple social media pages that are going to be created, and also other opportunities to applicate and also give our ideas and dedication and volunteer here to future steps ahead. It will be nice for us. And maybe you might give a round of applause to yourself, because we've been working so hard right now. And thank you all for being here. And I wish you enjoyed Albania. And thank you, since I'm an Albanian myself. Bye.
We'll take Eva.
Hello, everyone. And I would like also to mention that today and during the last 3 days, we talked about COVID-19, we talked about war, we talked about certain emergencies that affect health globally. But I would also like to say that during all these emergencies, usually non-communicable diseases are being neglected. And when it comes to cancer, I would say that this can be vital for cancer, because cancer cannot wait. And both in times of COVID-19 and in times of Nagorno-Karabakh war in 2020, we at Armenia experienced huge problems with cancer care, with cancer research, and with anything when it comes to cancer diagnosis, cancer research, cancer prevention, everything was kind of postponed. And the research says that even 2-3 months of delays in cancer diagnosis and cancer care can really significantly affect the cancer prognosis. So I would like to ask, and nowadays we do not really have guidelines that tell us how we should act during the emergency when it comes to cancer. I would really I really hope that sooner or later, we will have these guidelines that really say that during the war, during the emergency, when the hospitals are full with people who are suffering from this emergency, what should cancer people do? How should they get the medicines that are needed for cancer, the essential medicines? How should people get enrolled to clinical trials? How should people participate in cancer screenings and in vaccines against cancer? I really, really hope that one day we will have these guidelines, and if anyone, as an ambassador of European Cancer Leagues and as a public health professional that leads an organization that investigates and raises awareness about the impact of crisis on cancer care, I'm also here to help if anyone has need my help in this situation. I really hope that cancer patients, their voices and their rights will also be protected in times of emergency.
Apologies for being the bad cop, but we will, of course, still be here after the session and are super excited to hear all of your inputs. But Rajiv, what is your final comment?
Thank you, Katya. So firstly, in fact, I will start with an issue that we had, in fact, as a Roman Egyptian in 2019. And then after that, we had also the pandemic. In fact, we were advocating with the Ministry of Health and Social Protection relating to the mediation. And what is a mediator is someone who is facilitating vulnerable communities to access health. In that time, we asked the ministry to approve this thing, and also these mediators to be part of public health institutions. In that time, they told us that our idea was very good, but was not able because of the budget limited that they had. And in fact, today I find the forum to also to ask again that the Ministry of Health in the future to why not to approve this thing. And also, I want to stay in this forum. I want to thank every one of you that was part of the forum, and also I want to thank the stakeholders and also all the staff that have worked in this. And my last word is youth for youth. Thank you.
And for my final expectations is for this declaration to not just stay on paper, but to continue being a living, breathing document that will change youth engagement in the European region. I'm also super excited that at this event, there is so many young people, younger than me, that will keep on carrying the torch. And I think that is the beauty of youth engagement, that there is always another young person to keep on making the world a better place. So thank you.
I want to thank all speakers on stage today, and also Raji and Katya for presenting the forum outcomes. So in the upcoming weeks and months, your feedback and outcomes will be taken forward. So watch out for any news and updates that will be shared by WHO Europe. Until then, have a safe journey home, stay healthy and safe. With this, I hereby close the 2022 Youth for Health Forum in Tirana. Thank you.